Why, hello, everybody. It has been a while. I am your host, Magnus Carter, and you are listening to the Making More Money for You show. My journey as an author, podcast, radio show, person, personality is to bring you insight on investing, whether it's investing in yourself, investing in money, short term, long term, whatever the case may be, and also to show you that there's more than one way to make money in this world other than the conventional stock market, real estate, buying, selling things, stock market and whatnot as well. This is going to be an amazing show. It's only going to be myself. It's been a while since I did one of these, so please bear with me. And I thank you for tuning in. This show is all about the latest book that I just released with LPS Publishing House LLC. Not only did I wait on this book for a while, I also did quite a bit of research on it. And I believe I'm going to name this show Gen Z Curse or Cure because in the workforce today, there's many people retiring. A lot of people want to get out of there, get out of their jobs and start living their lives. From the 8 to 12 to 15-hour days, 7 day stretches, 15-day stretches, month-long stretches even. They've had enough of it. And it's time for them to actually kick back, take what they learned, take what the little bit of the company gave them in their 401k because everybody stopped using pensions because they're cheap bastards. And I'm going to stand beside that because long ago, pensions were the way that companies valued their employees because of all the time, effort, and sacrifice that they give. But nowadays, it's the 401k, not even stock options. If you're lucky, if you can get stock options, depending on your company, might be worth saving, might not be. That's for you to decide and also your journey as an investor. If you want to learn more about that, tune in and check out any of my other podcasts or radio shows, if you will. They're on all streaming services. So let's get back to the topic at hand. Gen Z. This generation has been put through the ringer already. From growing up, they were given everything that they've ever wanted. We'll start with that. And it's a digital age now. Nobody really did work with them. It was more or less give them a screen, they'll learn on their own. That's good and it's bad. As we've seen, as I've been seeing in the research areas of my book, which is making more money for you, working in quotation marks with Gen Z. So there's a lot of things I'm going to go over with Gen Z, the workforce, the ever-changing environment, uh, constraints, management. I'm going to make all this about the company owners and the workers. You know, not only is it up to the company to provide resources for the company to still make money and have jobs and produce a revenue coming in that's positive and not in the negative. The workforce itself, we're going to do devil's advocate on both of these. So as we're going through this, so as I'm going to go through this, I am going to reference my book, reference some things that I've seen out in the wild, some things that are many, many things on the side of what this generation can do, what it does do, and what it doesn't want to do, and if they're lazy or not. That's one of the major questions that I keep getting asked is like, why are they so lazy? Why don't they do stuff? Why are they doing this and why are they doing that? I want to get into all that. I'm not going to get respectively deep in everything, but just enough to get you through the next week or so, or maybe longer, depending on how much of my insight you use or insight that you don't use. And it's like, oh, he doesn't know what he's saying. Well, I kind of think I do understand what I'm kind of saying here. I've been doing this book thing, been mentored many times throughout my whole transition as an author and part owner in the publishing company, LPS Publishing House LLC. And to show fact of that, the book that just launched on Monday is the number one new release on Amazon as we speak and as this is going on. And I am recording this on 10/28, 2025. It is still number one in HR development. It is also in the top five in two other categories. And those categories are, well, let's see here. Oh, I got three reviews, 4 stars. It's okay. Oh, it's number two in human personnel right now, entrepreneurship and human resources. So we're going to take a look at those later. And I can probably say one of my haters already got to it and put a 1 star review on it because they cannot. It's their choice. It's whatever they want to do. So I'm not going to dwell on that aspect of it. But to say one thing, Gen Z now entering the workforce because one, their parents are tired of supporting them. Two, they want money of their own. Three, they're getting out of college. College was supposed to be free for them, and that's all they want to know. Not so much. You sign those loans, you pay them. I'm going to be harsh. You know, you decide to go to school. Well, you decide to go to school for and learn a trade or get a degree, and that was on you and you alone because that was your choice as an adult. And I still believe you should be able to pay it back. I paid mine back well, way before, they were supposed to be due or before the interest rates are like 8, 9% now on federal grants and federal loans. Well, not no grants. There's no loans on grant, no repayment on grants. Sorry about that. So, only to say this is the Gen Z population that's actually entering the workforce can't get off their phone. It has been, they grew up with it. First thing that they got is 3, 4 years old, maybe five, is they had a tablet to watch videos on. Then, from the streaming fact of a cell phone, another tablet, there's very little interaction with them, so they know the screens. And actually talking to people became, you know, a chore for them because even the school systems now are all digital. Not to mention when we were through COVID, where we couldn't even talk to anybody or touch anybody or see anything, we were stuck in our homes as prisoners from the government because they wanted to really break us down and make us dependent on drugs and technology. And for those consequences, a lot of people have passed away from that. And the aspect of the up and coming kids, those generations from anywhere from kindergarten up to graduates and undergrads in college, they missed out on a lot of things. The year of nothing, really. And now we're told, COVID's still there, deal with it. And that could have been all taken care of at the beginning because that's when working in healthcare. I have learned that it's still a disease. It the effects, but I digress. I digress a lot. This is all about Gen Z and getting them into the workforce. So even with COVID, jobs were shut down. The only thing people that were really working were essential workers. They deemed was essential workers. So one of the things that is lacking is personality skills or actually being able to communicate effectively from one person to another person. And that actually starts with the interview process or even the job placement. When people are applying for jobs or applying for these jobs, they're going through the job descriptions like, okay, they check 3 to 4 boxes and they apply for it. to get to the interview process and fail it miserably because they don't know how to communicate and how to answer questions that are actually thinking questions. So their comprehensive skills and being able to articulate answers based on personal experience is almost zero. So HR is having nothing but issues that I can see, and I've seen everywhere. Everybody's hiring because they can't keep people. Why can't they keep people? Because they're not finding the right people to fit the positions they're looking for. And the reason they can't find that is because the job descriptions don't necessarily represent what they're working, what they want the people to work, or what the functionality of the actual job itself to do. You know, throughout my years of being in the workforce, I have met some pretty shady managers that try to get all this extra work out of you for not paying them. And in this day and age, it is more known now than it has ever been known in the past because Gen Z is saying no to it. I will give them that. They actually have self worth of actually knowing what time is worth and what the job is actually spent to do. Not to say that there could be compromises on both sides. That's what the job negotiations for and the salary negotiations are for. But when you go to a McDonald's and you see, or any other fast food restaurant that are offering 401ks, paid vacation, college reimbursement, college tuition, and medical benefits for a very non-labor intensive and mentally strenuous position compared to a CEO, compared to a manager, compared to a network engineer, compared to a doctor, a lab technician, it doesn't make sense. And that this is one of the reasons why people aren't working these jobs is because they're not supposed to be sustainable for long term. These positions are actually made to get you work experience so you can go up the ladder. So you can actually do more, have more responsibility. So you can gain the skills that are learning how to talk to people, how to follow orders, how to show up on time, let's see here, how to show up on time, how to communicate with other coworkers and problem solving skills. Plus, actually doing repetitive things so you learn how to do tasks in a better and in a more efficient time frame, and then step up from there. But as time has gone on, people kept staying at the same jobs and not moving forward. Granted, people will do that, but not all people are supposed to be doing that. So, what I'm saying here in the first part of this segment is that when looking for a job, list what you're supposed to be doing. Never, this is to HR, honestly, in management, never put down other job duties may be needed. Because once you put that in there, you're shooting yourselves in the foot because you are expecting them to go above and beyond what they're actually getting paid for. If you want them to do something else, put it in the job description, label it out so there's no surprises, and then pay them for it. It's not that hard. Really, it really isn't. I see that in my in my positions now. I've seen it in prior positions, especially when I was due for a raise when I decided to leave a company that I got my new job offer. I got the title I wanted. I got the money kind of right where it was. It needed to be a little negotiated a little bit. But the job description is to be determined at a later time. Absolutely not. If you ever see that on anything that you are willing to sign that has your signature on it for any purpose to gain financial success or move up in your career, don't sign it. Because once you sign that, Anything they say and can do will be your responsibility, even if it's not your job, not in your department, anything in the company. They can ask you to do anything. If they want you to go mop the floor, you need to go mop the floor because you signed it with other job responsibilities. So that's one thing that Gen Z really needs to do, and that's any worker out there. Please be careful of what you sign and what you agree to. Always negotiate. If you cannot come to a negotiation and you feel that you're underprivileged, not underprivileged, but underappreciated, there's other jobs out there. Honestly, do not tell your manager you're looking to leave. But if you throw that card out there, be prepared to leave the company, or they will find a way to make you want to leave or find a technicality to have you removed from your position. So, guys, I want to say before this first segment is over, I want to say thank you for tuning in. This is the Making More Money for You show. I am your host, Magnus Carter. We're talking about working with Gen Z. Gen Z, the curse or cure of the workforce. And I'm going to get into a little bit more in the second segment. I'm going to go into some of the topics that are hot topics besides the actual job process of looking at job descriptions and what is a job descriptions and negotiations because negotiations are a little bit further down the road once you get the position. And do not negotiate after you start your job. People have been doing that and they've been quitting. I've been seeing that a lot in a lot of different areas. So just be mindful of that. I'm going to take a short break in a second or two while our lovely sponsors play whatever they need to play. I'm not sure who the sponsors are at the moment, so we'll find out. Don't worry, it's there. But hang tight, and we're going to be back with more of the Making More Money for You show. Hey guys, welcome back to the Making More Money for You show. I am your host, Magnus Carter. Today we are talking about investing in workers. Gen Z, the curse, the the cure or the curse of the workforce. I just actually released a book, Making More Money for You. This is the seventh book in the series, working with air quotes with Gen Z. The first topic, I did a little bit of what I've been up to, making books, talking about Gen Z, finding the right position, going through the job description. If you see anything else that says other related job duties, do not sign. Have them specify what the job duties are, because once you see the other in there, they can make you do whatever they feel is necessary for you to hold your job. And if you don't do it, you can get written up and disciplinary actions. So we're going to talk a little bit more about the book. I'm going to go through some of the hot topics out there with Gen Z hiring managers and corporate America. Corporate America has been very ridiculously changed since COVID. Everything out there is more technology based. And with that being said, with the technology, everybody else, there's multiple generations now. I got the boomers still hanging on out there because they can't retire because everything's so screwed up with the economy. I know our lovely president's doing his best to do that. Thank you, Mr. President. So they're hanging on. We have the Gen X folks. I'm on the bridge of Gen X and millennials, but I'm more Gen X than anything. You know, is we don't want to be bothered. We want to do our job. We want to go home. We want to drink. We want to go have fun. We want to go travel. We want to do stuff. We don't care about politics. We go, we do a job, we get the hell out of there. Perfect. Millennials, it's all about feelings. They came into the workforce, they still had a work ethic with them, but then they started acting, it's like, oh, this is too harsh. We can't have this, we can't have that. Things started to change and you start seeing things going downhill. There was an increase in, you know, uh, what was it? Not some sort of lawsuits. I think it wasn't discrimination lawsuits. It's actually a complaints, if you will, because of harassment, the unjustly cause of things in the workplace and not being treated right and blah blah blah. So now with with they of course the other two generations, the boomers and Gen X, modify it a little bit. It's like, okay, we can handle a little bit of your whining because you're still doing work. Now, Gen Z enter Gen Z. The workforce will never be the same after this generation. Ever. Because work ethic sucks. The drive is not there. Basic skills are not there. Like how to show up on work on time, how to talk to somebody, how to actually put the phone away to do a job, how to, appreciate what they have. Always complaining because they feel they are the entitled generation. Everything is supposed to be given to them. They are taught from their institutions and everywhere else that they seek information that they should all be making 60, $70,000 out of the gate. No. Can you make 60, 70, 60, 60K plus? Absolutely. Depending on what your job is, and where you plan on working. But the average person takes a long time to get there, especially with the medians these days, are anywhere from 40K up, depending on where you live. You live in New York City, I think it's like 75, 80K is median, minimum, or you're actually in the poor. It's probably above that right now. I can't remember. It's been a while since I looked at a chart. But they're expecting all of this. On top of that, the housing market and everything else out in the world is 300 times, 300% marked up more now than it was 5 to 8 years ago. Inflation sucks. The Biden administration said there's no inflation. I'm like, please tell my paycheck that, and please tell the stores that are raising their prices up. The same box of cereal is like $5 now. Back 5, 6, well, maybe before COVID, 2, 3 years, it was like 2.75, $3 a box. No inflation. I don't believe that one bit, but we're programmed to do that. Look at even gasoline, the stuff we need to get to work, and even cars. Cars now are 50, $60,000 for cars that should be in the 15 to $30,000. It's ridiculous. Pickup trucks, 60,000 plus for a flipping pickup truck. You're paying mortgage prices here. And with Gen Z and millennials, they are in such turmoil because the housing market is so turned upside down as well. They're still living with their parents. You know, when when I actually graduated school and got a job that's actually everything that you're supposed to do, because I followed the line for a little while until investing and whatnot. About finding a house, it's ridiculous now. For the same house that used to cost 75, $80,000 are up close to 200K. It's not worth 200K, but the market is saying it is because there's such a demand right now. So, but one thing that is in dire demand for companies is workers that are willing to do a job, even not even well anymore. They've toned everything down so far that you just have to show up to the place to get a paycheck and do maybe a couple small things. So it's crazy on how everything has been shifted. One, because of COVID, and two, this generation that has, it has ambition, but the ambition is all in the technology and not actually working with people. I personally, as a network engineer for over 20 years, when I get done with a computer and done work, that is the last thing on my mind I want to go and do. I actually want to sit outside. I want to go hang out with some friends. I want to listen to some music. But personally, that's just me. You know, Even in the middle of my career as a network engineer, I would play video games because it would just drown everything out. Nowadays, you have esports. You have all this other stuff that is still in front of a video game and not interacting with people. I digress again. I I am not apologizing for digression because this is all relevant because it's Gen Z. This is the way they're raised. This is the things they do. This is their, their moment in time. I'm actually going to reference the working with you, working with Gen Z book. A little tidbit here. Please bear with me. And let's not say about Gen Alpha that's coming after Gen Z. That is going to be a little bit even worse. That's another book and another another podcast or radio show after. Okay. Here's one of the things. Less intertwined with the company. Employee engagement with the company's mission and branding has always been low for Gen X and millennials, but the situation was getting better around the 2010s until the pandemic. Honestly, because the companies were actually listening to us out there because hey, you know, we're getting more people out there. They have to change the rules. They're changing it a little bit at a time, which is great because of everything that was going on back then. You know, we're getting more digital. We're getting more efficient with some things. So they were starting to evolve towards everything that the workers needed. But as soon as COVID hit, boom, everything was remote. Everybody was working in pajamas. The dress codes went out the window. The respect went out the window because you're not in front of actually somebody. You're actually on a Zoom call, you know, 10, 50, 100 miles away or across the country. A lot of people during the pandemic were working on a beach. I wish I was one of those people, but I was not. Yeah, right here. Right here in the book I put. Another reason could be that because of the remote work, the workers are less engaged in the actual office space and less likely to associate themselves with the company altogether. Even their colleagues, less than 40% of the people reported being connected to the mission of the company, with working workers feeling isolated and purposeless. That's one thing about an office in a building is you're actually there to do one common thing, generate revenue for the company. Basic thing. Whatever it's marketing, PC repair, calling people on the phone, water coolers, cooking dinner, cooking the lunches or whatnot, janitorial staff. It is all for the company to proceed and work. It's plus you had a camaraderie of hating everybody in the office when you had coworkers. You had like things, honestly, and you interacted with people. Were they your best friends ever? Yeah, some can be, some aren't. But your acquaintances, as someone told me, or work folks relied on you and you relied on them to actually get work, do stuff, to get work done, to make goals happen, to have something to work towards. Also, it was a lot easier to manage people in one location instead of constantly trying to call somebody on a Zoom call and they don't pick up because they were out walking their dog, in the bathroom, taking a shower, taking care of one of the kids and or one of the animals or something, doing something besides work. And work progress really sucked because they weren't focused on the job itself. They're doing everything else. And I'm going to fight this on the backside of things for the people working at home. There was no disconnection. You went from one thing right to the next thing. There was no break. There's no downtime. There's no decompressing. There's no yelling or screaming in the car on the drive home. It's you were automatically in the house mode. And then once work time came around, you went right into to work mode. It was it it seriously is. It is now and it was then, especially the isolation where the only people you could actually talk to are the people in your house. I know a lot of people that almost didn't make it through COVID because they spent too much time with the other person. I'm just gonna throw that out there. So, that's one of the things. Another one of the things is that Gen Z, since there's so many jobs open and there's such a short talent pool now with the skills they need, they want more money. You know, with the inflation, like I was talking about before, the housing market, cars, everything's inflated. It's gonna come down. The balloon's gonna pop at some point. So who knows what it's gonna be? It's slowly deflating. It's inflating. It's deflating. It's inflating. It's a game of cat and mouse. But the reason why prices are one of the reasons prices are so much at McDonald's is they're getting paid 16, $15 plus an hour. That 69 cent, dollar 25 cent cheeseburger, a double cheeseburger that was years ago, we're still getting paid like $4 an hour. You put in the fact that they're getting paid 15, $16 an hour, what their benefits, what their vacation time, what, you know, medical and all that other stuff. A Big Mac's like $10 now. That is insane. And it still sucks. Honestly, serious. So that's what we're facing right now. The inflation of that. So Gen Z is on that because they want more money because they have to pay bills. They're still living in their parents. They're still living in their parents' garage or in their basement with their video games on and trying to get a job. Oh, yes, 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 yes. Because that's some of the, and one thing I'm going to get into when interviewing, you know, Gen Z doesn't think in the concrete way anymore. They think more abstract and because when they changed math and they changed all the curriculums and stuff, they put all this extra garbage in there where facts aren't really facts anymore. Facts are stories. So one thing that I found out, some of the questions that HR people are asking is like, if you had $1 million, what would you do with it? Good question. $1 million nowadays is like $150,000 back in like the 80s. That's $1 million now is really not much. So there's that aspect of it. There's well, tell us a time where, since they don't have work experience, where you helped your family out or where you solved a problem with your family. It's they got to find ways around it because when they look at resumes are more blank paper and more one-page liners than I've ever seen in my life. Because after trying to hire editors and graphic designers, cover designers, I was looking at some of the resumes out there and they're not even one page. They're just like high school, track team, honors English, the debate team, college. Oh, college, we played golf. I'm like, okay, we played golf and we played EA Sports. Nothing else. I'm like, oh, you ask those questions. It's like, well, what programs do you use and whatnot that you would actually be using? Can you work this? Can you learn this? And a lot of them can't even answer the question of a simple yes or no question. So when we get into more of that and not the actual work, it's it's a challenge anywhere out there. I am facing the same thing as thousands of all you other guys out there, HR development, CEOs, managers, supervisors. The communication is a giant barrier because they can't put their phone down. Or it's the new lingo out there. It's like, oh, that's so Riz and trying to learn that lingo. I'm like, no, I'm not learning the lingo. Either you talk like a person or, there's other places out there. So, and that's where a lot of the disconnect is. Another disconnect is people Gen Z doesn't feel like they're heard or their feelings get hurt because they don't understand. They're actually talked too harshly because, they did something wrong and nobody really yelled at them as they were growing up or doing anything. So they quit. And that's why a lot of them have like 6 or 7 jobs on their resume for like 2, maybe 3 months at tops. So I'm going to let you digest on this aspect of things and this rant of mine, which I will continue at one more segment here. And I'm going to tell you how to get the book. Also, if you have any questions for me, I'll give you all that contact info, which is absolutely important because I like keeping up with you guys. I'm going to take a quick break and I'm going to come right back. Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Making More Money for You show. Sorry for the pause. Had to happen. Not gonna lie. But the first two segments went over, the job description, why Gen Z can be the curse or the cure for the workforce. I went into more into negative things, but in this last section, I'm gonna go over some of the remedies and some of the things that can be actually implemented to help. I'm only gonna go over a couple things because this is a short segment. Plus, I don't want to go too in depth because, I still have this book thing for sale. I'm gonna make a couple dollars here, a couple dollars there. So let's get right into it. Okay. One thing, since Gen Z really didn't have any mentors or anything growing up because they were addicted to their phones or smart devices, plus with the lack of human interaction during COVID and such things, I'm going to talk about, you know, start a mentor program in your workplace. Set them up with the grumpy old guy that's about ready to retire, or the happy guy that's gonna be ready to retire, because he knows that he's on his way out. He will do whatever it takes to get through the day. Bottom line, it'll be like a knowledge transfer for everybody involved. You know, sometimes it's a good thing, sometimes it's a bad thing. They may kill themselves, kill each other, or threaten to walk out, whatever. But the retirement guy that's at his end, he's not gonna walk out because he works too hard to get out, especially without a pension, without his 401k, his paid life insurance, paid medical insurance, whatever it is. So he's going to do the work. Excuse me. Now you got to be mindful when you do that. You kind of got need to put him with someone that he's really not going to really not going to kill. Or, just put his nose up and just not talk to him for that. But the Gen Z person has to have the aptitude that is will work for the job. So that is one thing to do. And also have, I hate to say this, but have Gen Z actually teach something. I know that's way out in left field. I know you're probably cringing at the thought about that or actually thought about it and your boss shot it down. But here are a couple reasons why you actually want them to do that. One, they can feel the responsibility. It's like, okay, they're being heard. They like being heard. They like their feelings touchy feely, everything going on, happy that, that they're trying to make a difference. Two, they can actually use their digital media or digital whatever capabilities to make a very nice PowerPoint presentation or a video to actually show a skill. So it gives them some sort of production and purpose to work towards. And also have like a Zoom call with them. I know people love Zoom calls, and I don't understand the point. I really don't understand Zoom anymore. I don't understand how people cannot still find the join button, find the pause button, find the stop button, or even hook up their microphone or headphones. It's been 3 years. Get over it and use it. Quit making excuses. Seriously, that is one of the last things. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm late. You knew what time it was. You know to be there 5 minutes early, and you know that there's going to be an issue with your Zoom because one, you need to update. Two, you got to sign into it, or you got to reboot the system, your computer system. Come on, it's been 3 years. Use your brains. Quit making excuses and making a spectacle of yourself because no one likes it, and no one likes you for doing it because they want to get off the conference call as fast as they can because they actually have work to do. Gonna put it out there, just an FYI. So that's another thing that you can do is have them lead something like that. Uh oh, just an FYI, over 50% of all startup businesses will fail in the next decade, and nearly a quarter of them in their first year because they don't have the talent needed to sustain for revenue producing work. Bottom line, any new startup out there, you are at odds of failing within the first decade. Work good, work hard, make smart decisions. Just an FYI, get everybody on board fast, believe in your mission, do what you need to do to make it work. I'm pulling for you guys. Some of the strengths of Gen Z. Well, there's some out there. Use them for marketing. That's what they do. They do their little dances on TikTok. They do whatever they do. They're good with it. They know social media. They know how to get things done. They know how to make a stand for something. If you have something that's basically wanting to be known about the company, tell them to do it. They will more than likely give you an okay. It'll be done in like 30 seconds. What they do the rest of the time they're there, that's up to you guys. That's up to your manager or supervisor. That's one of the main things that they do is use their creativity to further the company. If you have a process, sit down with them. It's like, hey, this is what we're doing. What do you think? Not everybody should be able to do that. Just gonna put that out there. Select a few. The ones that show interest in it. The one that shows that they're willing to stay with the company. The one that shows they're going to actually do the work to make it happen. And then the other people, have them do the work themselves. Have the other Gen Z folks work with the other generations like the millennials and the Gen X and the boomers. One thing about society is now is this woke garbage out there. I'm just going to say woke is garbage because there's no place for that in the workforce. Honestly, if you can't be professional enough to and professional courtesy for each other, you shouldn't be working there. There all this extra, well, you hurt my feelings for this, you hurt my feelings for that. Get over it. The woke thing is just there to be a distraction from positive, productive people. Bottom line, I see it. You see it everywhere. People are sick of it. People don't care anymore. They want to go and live their lives. They don't want it shoved down their throats either. That's exactly what it is. Woke is just garbage. So, and I'm actually happy about everything that's being done out there that is trying to eliminate woke society because if we can't work together for a common goal, you shouldn't be at that place. You should go find somewhere else that actually aligns with your beliefs, your work habits, your work ethics, if you have any of those. So that is the honestly, if you feel like that, oh, that's one thing the HR can do is have a super small trial period. It is a pain in the butt to do this, but if you do a trial period of like 2 weeks instead of 90-day probationary period, it will save you so much headache and so much in let's see here, the corporate world of slang would be um workman's comp, workman's, unemployment, actually filling out the benefits. Have them do work for 2 weeks. It's like, okay, you're gonna do this. This is your trial period. You get 4 hours 4 hours a day for 2 weeks. If you can do the job, you're hired, and this is what you do. Honestly, that's one of the best things that I've seen. I've seen actual companies do that, and they've cleared out so much dead weight that they say they can do the tasks that were assigned to them, and they got rid of them. It's like, okay, you have a paycheck here, go see you bye. And they didn't have to pay anything else out of pocket for it because it was under contract. It's like this is what you agreed to, these are your terms, You know, you're late so many times, you're late so many minutes. You put those stipulations in there. They can't do anything about it. And also check with your company policy and legal team on that because certain states have certain different rules. Okay, especially at will states for not at will states. So consult your legal team and your other HR representatives. But I know companies that are doing that, especially startup companies and also proprietary companies, LLCs, and other such things, small businesses and some mediums that are starting to implement that, and they've been seeing really some really good results and some retention in their workforce. Oh yeah, I hated this part. One thing that you could offer instead of more money for the job they're doing, and I used to think the same way about this, is offer them free food. Everybody's hungry. The one medical company I used to work for, a health company. There's two offices. There's one in California, one in Pennsylvania. If you worked with me or actually worked in the area, you know which company this is. But in their California office, they offered car washes, car detailing, masseuses to come on site, food, beverages, candy, food trucks to come on site because they want you to sit there and work. Their work ethic is their thought and awesome way to do this, and they were ingenious for doing this. Is if you the more amenities that are on site, like Google has or Microsoft has, the happier the worker's going to be, and the less time away from their desk they're going to be. So they're going to put out more work, less time going in between things, and the company makes money. That is one of the most ingenious things that they have done. The Pennsylvania office started out like that, and then it became more work, and then they took everything away from us, and people got disgruntled, people left, and eventually, when we found out how other things in the California office was raised and done, yeah, that didn't go too well with the workers, especially when they found out the masseuse was coming in like once or twice a month. So that's just some wonderful things that you can do to actually retain people. Be conscious of who you're hiring. Search, I am one thing that I hate about this society right now and this world is everything is on digital media. I have taken a step back from social media and my life has been nothing but better from that. But for a company to fire someone over their personal social media account is fucking garbage. Bottom line, fucking garbage. You have taken their First Amendment right away so they can actually keep a job. Fuck you. Bottom line, I am not going to sugarcoat it. That is complete garbage. Now, if they brought that into the work area and they kept saying that stuff, that's another story. But on their own personal time, their own personal space, their personal social media, that's garbage. That no, there needs to be a line drawn there. No way. That's just overstepping their bounds. They can bitch and moan at whoever they want, whenever they want, outside of work. If it's on company equipment, you can absolutely fire them. Or on company time, absolutely fire them. If it's still on in the workplace, fire them. But on your own personal stuff, I can care less. That's just garbage. So that is my final rant of the Gen Z workplace, the cure or the curse in the work Gen Z cure or curse in the workplace. Honestly, I hope you found some humor in this, find a couple little tidbits of information that are helpful to you. Pick up the latest book, The Making More Money for You, Working with Gen Z. It is on sale at every single retailer out there in paperback or electronic book format, Kindle. whatever PDF. It is number one release bestseller out there. I am Magnus Carter. I am your host. Get out there, turn off the cell phone, enjoy the outside for like a couple minutes before getting back to work. Also, one major thing, thank you for listening to me. Thank you for actually still being part of my journey as an author, as a publisher. And the next, I'll let you guys know when the next one drops. Have a wonderful day.